And then you can say, well, the gigantic part, you can open that, leave it open. Just leave the door open. And then just leave it open. So you know the greatest side, the right side, is massive, and then a much smaller left lobe over here. Sandwiched in between the stomach, there. Hanging over everything, the greater omentum, this apron of fat. Covers up the intestine, you have to lift it up to identify the intestine. Do that in a moment. You should also be able to identify this structure, just peeking out from underneath the right lobe, tip of the gallbladder. Okay. See it much better from underneath. And then we'll take a look at the intestinal anatomy in a moment. The only other thing on this presentation would be the white layer on the wall, right there or over here. Okay, well that's peritoneum, specifically parietal peritoneum on the wall. The visceral doesn't show very well in this specimen. We'll use another one. Identify visceral. That's everything I would expect you to be able to identify in this presentation. Okay. You can ask questions at any time. So now we pull some things out, get a more isolated view of various structures. Great look for the esophagus coming down, attaching into the stomach. There. Note how the spleen is actually attached to the greater curvature of the stomach, part of the greater omentum. And then you come out on the right-hand side, making a left-hand turn. First part of the small bowel, small intestine, duodenum. Pick it up here. You get that indentation, what we call trites. And then it becomes jejunum, cut off there. This is prepared to really show this glandular mass going from the right side off to the left. So there's the pancreas. That's what we call a transpyloric, really meaning it runs horizontally. This way. You can also see the supporting tissue of the small intestine, often with a lot of fat in it, mesentery. Pick this off and you say, a lot of blood vessels attaching to the intestinal wall. And so you have that nestled in area right tucked into that curvature, head, neck, body, tail. Don't worry about that at all. Just pancreas is fine. This is a bit misleading. I'll show you a slide in a few minutes where this hasn't been torn off the posterior body wall. It says it really is behind your stomach. But to see it well, it's been pulled forward. But that's misleading. And it actually runs underneath your stomach, behind it, plastered against the posterior body wall, not hanging out in front of it or below it. All right, everything you should be able to identify. I'd have to say the most detestable slide next week. Extremely important. Open things up in a very careful dissection. We're looking at the interior of the esophagus, attaching to the stomach. You can now be able to name the parts of the stomach, where it attaches, cardia, the bubble off to the left, fundus, most of it, body, all of this, and then the lower end, pylorus, pyloric stomach. And then the touchiest part would be where it starts to narrow down the top of the funnel. We call it the antrum, where all those gastrin secreting cells are concentrated. So if I say the top of the funnel, we're talking antrum, the lead in to the pyloric end of the stomach. You also see the internal folds, rugae, and then as you get to the lower end, there's this muscular ring, the pyloric sphincter. Stated this before, but most will tell me you can take my lab exams blindfolded if you carefully listen to the questions. So if I say lower end of the stomach, this muscular ring, you don't even have to see it. I've described the pyloric sphincter. So my questions try to help you if you'll listen to them. Don't just jump to what's being pointed to. Yes?
So is the sphincter like the end of the funnel?
Sure. Right at the end of the funnel, you'd see this muscular ring. A very definite muscular exaggeration. Pyloric sphincter. Yes?
So the fundus would be like where the tube is up there,
Mhm.
and then the body would be where the three is.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't refer to numbers.
Right, I just.
Because they're not so accurate sometimes. I'll make sure I describe that area, the bubble off to the left, where the esophagus attaches, cardia. So I say, listen to the question. If you know your handouts, then you'll be able to really answer just by the description. Okay? So just seeing it further allows you to identify internal folds, rugae, so on and so forth. So then you go through the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine, opened up, seeing the interior, where in a very careful dissection you can see this very important area on the inside curvature. The pancreas has been opened up in a dissection where you can actually see the pancreatic duct right through there. I will ask you the eponymic name for that structure. So you have to give me the person's name, Weirson. So this is the duct of Weirson. And if I say identify it, it could be either pancreatic duct or Weirson. So I assure you, a lot of these I will say the eponymic name. Gotta be the person's name. So then as you go and approach the duodenum, you see from above with the green thread in there, vials coming in from above. You say there's a duct that joins the duct of Weirson. You can abbreviate it, CVD, and where they join, it widens out. what's it called, where the two ducts join together? Ampulla, or if it helps you to spell it, ampulla. And then the eponym, vater. Yeah, what's the eponymic name where the two ducts join together? Most cases, I only look for the eponym, just vater is enough. Ampulla is understood. And then as you continue into the wall, there's a muscular ring. Controls the flow of bile and pancreatic juice into your duodenum. Eponymic name,
Sphincter of
Odie. So now you've got the three crucial eponyms. Pancreatic, Wirsung. Ducts joining together, vater. Muscular ring in the wall of the duodenum, Odie. Three big identifiable eponyms. Right? So that's a real hot spot. Every clinician to be has to be well acquainted with that anatomy. A lot going on in the clinical area. Okay? So that extremely important. Okay, then just another dissection where we pull everything out, get a little different viewpoint. Obviously, you see your orientation organ here with the liver. It's a little tilted to the right, so you get a real good look at the, tilted to the left, so you get a good look at the right lobe, massive, left lobe. And then with this little tilt to the left, you can get a good look in relief at this supporting tissue. Coming forward into your anterior abdominal wall. That's supporting tissue. Falciform ligament. I even like you to see it for how the liver is sealed with your diaphragm. So this has been reflected upward so you can actually see how tight it is. When you breathe, your liver moves up and down. It's attached to your diaphragm as well as the anterior abdominal wall. Got your spleen over to the left. And now with this more suspended specimen, you can get a better look at the stomach. J-shaped muscular pouch. It's supported by a mesentery called a lesser omentum. This is lesser omentum, goes up underneath the liver to support your stomach. You should know two subnames of the lesser omentum. So if it has no ID, I won't ever point, but I might ask. What is a named subdivision of the lesser omentum? You would have to know hepatogastric or hepatoduodenal. You can actually see where it's attached to the stomach, that's hepatogastric. But it fans out over here to help support the duodenum. So that would be hepatoduodenal. No pointing, strictly being aware of those two names. Okay, and then you go along the right lobe. Peeking out is the gallbladder again. You then have this massive fatty tissue apron again. Greater omentum. Caution you for next week, if you use any term, don't exclude it. Between the gross